Call meeting to order. Pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someone shot me. Please lead us in prayer.
Short and sweet tonight.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for letting us celebrate the 244th birthday of the United States of America this week. And I ask you to continue to bless our country. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, Mr. Thomas will not be here this evening.
Make a motion to.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Minutes.
Motion for the minutes.
With the correction, I noticed on there, I don't think anybody saw it, or I thought I didn't see, where I put the legislation reading of the two ordinances. I normally put it under clerk treasurer, and I skipped it, so I'm gonna go back and fill that part in. It was just reading of ordinance 2007 and 8.
I have a question. We already approved the special meeting minutes, right?
No, they weren't done.
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion that we approve those.
Bennett?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Bills.
Motion for those.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Hourly workers' time report.
See two.
Yes, we have two of them.
Motion.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Fireman's time.
Motion for the fireman.
Did we just do that?
No, that was,
Hourly work.
yeah, which we, but that's okay.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Oh,
that's
we
what
don't
you.
need to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just used it, okay, I'm
That's
sorry.
fine.
I'm sorry, who passed this one?
I made a motion and Hazel seconded.
Let's switch this up here. Bennett? Yes. Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
If you guys wanna start approving that, I can just put that in here. I mean, it has to do with payroll, is what it
Yes.
is.
All right, well, Deb, you are up.
We received back the information from the auditors. I gave the members of the finance committee their own little folder with information and a document that has to be signed and returned to them this week. I've attached here the management letter, which tells you all the things that they think need to be corrected and fixed. It doesn't go public. Normally, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 things on there. This year, there was one. If you remember going back a few months ago, we passed the legislation for the records retention policy. Okay, we had to pass the legislation. I had to post it in the buildings, which I did because first time I posted it upside down on the window.
Yeah, well,
And I had to put it in the handbook. Well, I copied it and put it in the handbook through my basket, didn't put it in. That's what they got me on. They didn't catch me and complain about any POs being issued
Nothing.
after the invoices or anything else. It wasn't in the handbook.
they have to find something every time, they have to, because if they don't,
Yeah.
they're
So that was the main thing in the management letter, which is really nothing. And then they have the audit itself. And I have a copy of that, if you would like to share. I only made 2 copies.
Does that have to go to the state and then they approve it, put it in the paper, right?
I don't know what they don't put in the paper, but
Okay.
no, their copy goes to the state. I already sent my year end to the state for both years. And what they did on this, they've changed how they audit. They took information from my 2018 and 19 year end, where I do notes to the auditor, and they copied what I did and added a couple things to it and used that in part of this.
So you did your job.
So I did my job. Now, they found $283,000 worth of miscoding, that they say that I put it in account A, but it should have been in A1B or something. I am going to request that you come in person and show me the detail on what I did wrong. Because if I've been doing it wrong for that much money, I've been doing it wrong for 20 years. And I don't know they don't tell you what the entries are. I think the two sections of the entries has to do with what they want to move cemetery from a type of a fund, what it was, to a new fund, and I'm not sure if it showed right on our year end, which is what the man in Columbus does for. So I have to see what they're looking at. There was no money misappropriated, it just went in receipts into the wrong area.
Will they come and do it if you ask?
Oh, they're gonna come.
Do you want an exit conference on that?
We could do it over the phone, or I could ask for an exit conference, and I want him to come in person now. I put up with them for how many months, in and out, and looking up stuff 2 and 3 times because they can't find it or they lose it. Now they're gonna come and tell me what I did wrong. They're gonna
You want an
show me.
exit conference?
I want an exit conference from him. It could just be a one-on-one, but I wanna see what he's looking at. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong, but to make sure that I understand, they're gonna have to come show me.
On some of these, it looks like they're going, affecting the same thing.
That's what I said, a couple of them, see, cemetery used to be listed under like a fiduciary fund, and now they want it to be listed under, I think, a special revenue. I'm not sure that that's how it looked on the end of the year 2018. I'm just not sure. I want them to show me.
Well, yeah. Because they, they have charges for service.
Yeah, they're just putting it in, they're just moving it to different areas. and
But
that's-
it's still in G04.
Okay, GO4 would be when I take a payment and I post it to, sale of lots. Okay, it's a sale of lot. That's an endowment fund. GO4 is endowment. Why did endowment change after 20 years?
But I'm saying though, it's, where they're putting it back in is the exact same thing, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I need them to come show me.
What happens when we get the next audit and they say it's all wrong? Are you gonna get a letter from these people that tell you,
Probably.
okay,
No, it's
I've
not-
got one more to go.
It's
One
not
more to go
all
before I
wrong.
retire.
It wouldn't be all wrong, that's not correct. It's like you have one thing wrong and it's not even,
Yeah.
You don't wanna say all wrong, it makes it sound like you did everything.
Yeah, I think he means it's stuff that they're making her move.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what they're doing, they're just making work for themselves, so they have a reason.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, they just change things.
I have one more audit from just me. The next one's gonna be my exit audit, and then I'm done. So I have 2 audits and I'm done. Here are 2 copies. I didn't make everybody a copy. I just try to save paper because there's not a whole lot in it.
Who has to sign this for the exit audit?
Is that the paper for the finance committee?
Mhm.
You and Georgie will have to sign that.
Okay.
That's something new too. We never had to do that
Right, so
before.
this is, so we can get the exit audit,
Yes,
okay.
yes. While you're looking at that, the HIO plan will be here, the first meeting in August regarding renewing our liability insurance. It's Whitaker Myers. I have a copy of a document I copied, I don't know, it says in my paperwork, I gave this to you. Do you remember looking at this? We didn't do it and send it back.
Yeah, I do remember, yeah, could you give me, I think I got it in the back. I think I got it in my office.
Okay, we have to we'll go over this and fix it and send it back.
Okay.
Everybody on
I assisted the CIC, Vicki Sansel, to complete her year end on the computer. She did a great job. They have to file their records the same as we do now, the Hinkle system. We received a thank you already from Tuscarawas County Humane Society for the donation we made for Greg Lawner's grandmother. This has been one of the nicest thank yous we've ever received. It says, "Dear Village of Beach City Incorporated, we want to thank you for the donation that you made in Norma's memory. All donations, big and small, make a great difference at our shelter. We are praying for everybody's continued healing. We thank you, and our animals thank you too." That is one of the nicest ones we've ever gotten. I received today in the mail a surprise gift. I think I completed a survey and I clicked on a yes. We received, I believe, 100 masks to wear
Oh,
from Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. And here's what they look like. We stored them in the back. We don't know how we're gonna need them or when we're gonna need them. But this is what Workers' Comp sent us. So anybody who did what they'd asked got free masks. For the COVID-19, I'm still waiting on part of the government that issues what's called a cage number. It's the last step before we're approved to receive money for the federal funding. And somebody already called and asked me about garage sales. What's your garage sale idea here?
When did we have it? September last year, wasn't it?
No, we
No,
changed
you
it to
changed it.
before school
Oh,
starts.
that's right.
because it used to always be the weekend
Week after
after
Labor
Labor
Day.
Day. Yeah, and then they changed it.
But we don't even know if there's gonna be school this year.
Yeah, so you wanna think about, I mean,
I don't know why they gotta start closing so.
Tell me.
They do.
They know every year.
Tell them Coolidge Jets will be all right. We'll figure it out. We got, see what the governor's gonna be first.
okay, I have the third reading of legislation. It's the third reading of ordinance 20-07, an ordinance to increase the 2020 appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the fund accounts of the Village of Beach City, Ohio. We were increasing the accounts by the COVID-19 money refunded by workers' compensation again. Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation by $11,829.93. Each account has an amount that got posted to their revenue side.
Third reading, I'll make a motion to pass.
Yes.
Second.
Bennett? No. Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yeah.
And Schott?
Yes.
And then I have the second reading of ordinance 2008, that the solicitor prepared an ordinance in the matter of fulfilling the requirements of the Senate Bill 310 for the passage of the legislation in order to receive and expend federal funds under section 5001 of the Coronavirus Air Relief and Economic Stimulation Act. Be your second reading.
Wait, what is that number?
2008. And actually, that is all that I have that I can think of right now.
All right. Okay, well, fire. Mr. Anderson is in the Carolinas. Hopefully he'll be able to get back to the point. He's got, he has total calls, 131 today, and then last year at the same time it was 126. Given to Brewster one, given to Strasburg one, and we received 3 from Brewster. Fire Cat was in on Saturday, June 27th, to test a fire hose. It's gonna be $1,360. They had some hose failures, which they will address after vacation. I think we already passed the $1,360.
Yes, we did. That's
Okay.
in the pay today.
The March pagers are in at Staley's already, and they are awaiting programming. Dustin King is registered to start fire school at Erie Valley Fire Department later this month. Taras, I think it's Bacula, Kula, would like to rejoin the fire department. He's a trained firefighter.
Where's she from?
It's
He
a him.
lives right down here beside the fire department, that blue house.
Yeah.
You know, Winesburg meets.
Okay.
That's his.
And he will need to be, he'll have to have a physical and a drug test.
So do you guys pass physical and drug test?
Yeah, we need another one.
Make a motion.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Richards? Yes. McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Shot?
Yes.
Then the last thing, it says, Chief Anderson will be out of town on vacation from July 3rd until 13th. If any issues arise, contact him or contact Dan. That's about it on that one. The only two things I have, I'm going to CIC tomorrow night. They want somebody there from here, so I'm gonna do that. I'm not sure what that's about, but I'm gonna be there. Also, I noticed on the income tax, I figured it out, we're like 29.4% behind what we were last year at this time, but we don't have a lot of the income tax because it's not due until July 15th. So I have a feeling that next month, things will be a lot better. We should catch up, and that's a good reminder to everybody too, that I should remind them. I'll do that on Facebook, that they have to have their income tax in by the 15th of July.
She used to give us things on outstanding taxes. I wonder, has anyone heard where we stand on that?
That I don't know. That's a good thing.
Where people are behind or other things where maybe people owe us money or,
We'll check on that.
Wouldn't she do
Even on-
that after everything was turned in?
well, she used to give us one,
Yeah.
just occasionally give us one.
That would be a good thing to know, yeah.
Or even on, you know, utilities that are behind or,
Mhm.
I don't know what else, is that the only thing we get money for, is utilities and taxes? The residents?
Yeah.
Have we ever got a thing, Greg, on how much money is behind on the taxes for the city?
Taxes? No, that would be, we have fun
Utilities.
stuff about that. Utilities.
The
yes.
utilities on that.
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie would know on the taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she, yeah, for sure.
And that's all he's got, so we'll go to Chief Guy, please.
Okay, we had to take the SUV down to Nick's garage to get fixed. Back early this spring, the tires were starting to wear down and we're gonna need new tires on it. However, it was a couple weeks ago, the tires were a lot bolder than I thought they were. So we had to get those replaced as well as while they had it, the brakes in the back, the rear caliper, one side was wearing harder than the other when they said the caliper was going bad. So we ended up having to get the calipers replaced, and when I asked them about the warranty on the battery, because we replaced the battery less than a year ago, the place that they got the battery from went bankrupt and Apple took over
Well, that's, that
and would not accept the warranty on the battery.
explains why the battery went.
From the place in the bar?
J&J or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if it went bankrupt.
Oh,
I
they didn't go
misspoke there.
bankrupt.
I'm
They got
sorry.
bought
It's
out.
sold
They got bought out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh.
Misspoke there.
I got a question about the caliper. What year is this vehicle?
14.
That's 6 years old. Okay.
So we went ahead,
Napa wouldn't honor
the J and Gs.
I would get a hold of the company that made the battery.
Okay. I appreciate it.
It wouldn't hurt,
That's
So
true.
It makes sense, yeah, because Napa would.
yeah.
That's what Nick's told me. Got a call on the 4th of July regarding fireworks. Fireworks are illegal to set off. However, during certain times of the year, if they're not being dangerous, and I can't find them, not a whole lot we can do about fireworks being set off unless we can find who's doing them and they're being dangerous with them. Other than that, now if it's a time like 11:30 after our quiet times ordinance or something like that, we'll look a little harder to find them, but we'll always do our due diligence, try to find them. Just putting it out there, fireworks are illegal.
And I think everybody was quiet before 11, actually.
My
Yeah,
department
but
did
my
receive, we received
Down by
it.
my house it was.
I think we received a call at 9:30 on the 4th of July regarding fireworks. We'll always do our due diligence to find them, sometimes we don't find them. So,
Thank you for not
Go
coming.
ahead and do that. Like I said, do-
In other words, you go the other direction.
My dad owns.
No, they just said
Stupid.
use common sense is all we ask, just be safe about here. The one year not here, there was neighbors sitting on the roof shooting bottle rockets at each other. We kind of took their fireworks and got a $500 fine out of it, but as long as you're being safe.
One
that's-
time, we had neighbors, they were mad at us, so they shot their fireworks toward our roof.
Oh, yeah. that
Yeah,
helps.
stuff like that we'll definitely have issues with. Hazel, I got you a wish list. From last meeting.
B?
I got everybody, but whenever you asked for a wish list, I think it was last meeting regarding all of our needs and equipments and wants. So I'm gonna give this to you guys, don't Don't kill me. You either.
Debbie, will you take care of that for us?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, no problem.
So the ones you want to really look at, they're kind of in order, what we really need and what's in kind of wait.
It's like a 5-year plan. It's not a wish list. Don't say wish list, because my goodness, you need to see what we're gonna get out.
Yep, because we'll say
Christmas,
nope,
Thank you, yeah.
nope.
It's really not that bad once you really digest it. So the first thing that was already approved was tasers. We desperately need to get tasers here.
Oh, okay.
It's just something we need to get ordered. I'll work with Debbie to get that done, but we absolutely need those, and I can't put them off anymore. AR-15 shotguns are kind of a thing from the past. In the police world, ARs are safer, better route to go, more accurate, especially in a town environment. Not that I would hope we'd ever need them, but I would think they'd be a much better option than what we are with the shotguns.
Plus, and I don't wanna play devil's advocate, but say something happens at Fairless, when they do get back to school, we're the closest to respond, and I'm not gonna try to be spraying down a hallway with the shotgun. I'd rather have an AR where I can, it's more accurate.
Much more accurate.
And I don't like trying to think that way, but it.
How many would that purchase?
2.
So that would be 2 ARs. The
When
body
Brewster get a call because it's in the city limits?
Yeah, they
Oh,
get a
they'd get there,
call.
but we'd be going,
we are their mutual aid.
we'd be going right up the road, and we'd be there too.
So
Especially
that-
something like that.
Oh, it's everybody from 30 miles.
I thought we had body cams.
We do, we know.
No.
If that one's 2 years old now, nothing wrong with it, works great, I'd buy the exact same thing, have another one.
So we just have one.
We have one, we need an additional one. We got one to kind of try it out, because at the time I was trying Axon and WatchGuard. We decided to go with WatchGuard and only get one to see how it worked out, if we need to go a different route. WatchGuard works out great. The in-car computer we received a grant for, that's guesstimated around $3,500 value there. So that went in the charger, so we got a new computer in there. The next thing we're gonna need is a new radar. Our radars are NPH Pythons, and they're the first series. They're now on series 3, so they're probably about 15, 16 years old, I would guess. So they are still able to be calibrated each year. They get calibrated. In fact, it's coming up next month. Their calibration will be done, and they still calibrate. However, I would like to get a newer, more accurate. I guess I shouldn't say more accurate, just an up-to-date one. It's time to replace it. They're ready to like that.
One or more?
That's one.
You're right.
That'd be one radar. That would replace probably the one in the charger. And here's an interesting one. So if we get the money, this elusive money that we're trying to get for COVID, I would like to put a wall up in the police department in the front lobby area. That would protect our officers from clients coming in with the pandemic going on. Plus, it would provide a little more protection if someone walks in the front door, they're not able to just come back behind the counter fairly easily. So the nice thing about that is, well, I guess the thing is we have computers up, we have, sensitive documents, at least this way, they're gonna be stopped by a wall before they come back there. If we get the money for COVID, I think this would be a great option to look at, because it has to be spent in, I believe, COVID related, and I think this would fall right in that category.
Have you taken estimates on that? How
Have I-
did you come up that figure?
What's that?
How did you come up with
That's
that?
just my max. That's my max idea of what I'd want to see.
Oh.
I think it'd be a lot less than that, but that's just kinda, I didn't get any estimates on these though.
Would that be a wooden front? Is that what you're talking about, built inside?
Yeah, build inside, pretty much just put a wall up with glass. Put it
Like
over.
bulletproof?
No, just, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than that. It's just, because there's a counter behind there too. We replace that counter and replace the cabinets that go with that as well.
So
So.
just want a wall with drywall and stuff
Drywall, glass window, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, we might get 5,000. That's
Yeah,
just,
that's
that's just
fine.
kind of my max on what, quick throwing the other number. The pool building for the police vehicles is something else I'd like to eventually look at. Just something that we can park both our cars in and call it a day there, keep them out of the weather.
There's a spot right on the north side of the driveway, or the blacktop, that you could build this whole garage. And you want to get a long one where you can park 2 cars and 2 cars. That way you don't have it spread out. I'd ask you to get a price of what a pole building would be. At least start somewhere.
It's about 10th on the list, though. We are taking donations, though. Police department will
We'll
take
be
donations.
passing the hat
Yeah.
later, yeah.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
You've got your, wall in front of the department for 10,000, and then you got a whole building for
Mhm.
10,000.
That's for
Those are
cars.
max, those are maxes.
Yeah. Pole buildings are close to that.
Trying to figure out this wall.
That wall's probably, I want to make gold and brass and,
That pole building, if we do what Franny was saying, doing it for 4 cars, that might be more than 10 grand, I'm not sure. I wasn't thinking about the 4 cars, we do have, quite a few cars, so.
if we do for sure 2 cars, we can at least keep 3 of them out of the weather. Because we have a
Yeah.
garage stall down below already.
Right.
We can at least do 3 out of the 4
You
cars.
don't wanna do half stuff.
Which, with 2, Beach City technically only owns 2 police cars. Now granted, I'd want to keep Wilmot's cars
But you wanna
in the
keep
same
them
condition too. So we've got that extra stall.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't cost that much more.
No,
If you
you're
spread,
right.
if you spread the building out the other way.
Right. Oh, yeah,
More
you're
stalls,
right.
it's gonna cost you.
Right, if you're gonna,
You did say you had somebody you knew that could give you a price on one, didn't you?
I've got I'd have to go look at 3 quotes, but there is a council member in Wilmot who, her and her husband own a company that do pool buildings. So that'd probably be one of the quotes I'd get. So right now in our fundraiser account, we have close to $3,300. If you take the taser, the AR, the body camera, and the new radar, subtract the $3,300, you're at $5,105. And those would be the top priority list items that I'd like to really work on getting. The pay rates for the officers, I'd like to sit down and start really looking over those and make the adjustments and come up with some ideas. That's just something by the end of the year I'd like to really look at. And then the final thing is a speed sign. They're about $3,000, but I think one of those would probably do some good, especially down where Mr. McKinney lives, and on the other side where Debbie lives on 3rd Avenue there, and coming in on 212. Those would be 3 areas where I think that thing would really, we could move it around.
Looks like the speed trap, or like the.
If you look at
your speed?
like the
Yeah,
one we.
like the one you go into Brewster.
Okay.
Everyone sees that and it flashes and it slows it down.
I make mine flash all the time. Keep it
But-
going.
You keep it flashing.
Yeah, I keep going, wow, I'm up to 70, I said, when's this thing gonna stop flashing?
So I think that's a great idea, but that's a want, not necessarily a need, because we do have, I'd rather get the radar over the speed sign, because then my officer can physically stop them and it'd be more effective. But I think the speed sign's something that would be, that's more of a want. But that's kind of where I'm at with my little wish list. Greg, can you think of anything else that?
The AR-15s, we would be going more than likely to Ohio Armament, who's really good with law enforcement stuff. I've talked with a deputy that worked with at Tuscarawas County. He actually works there and builds those, and we can get them. They do Bravo Company, which are, some people may not know much about firearms, but they're an American-made manufacturer. They're very good. So for that price, you would be getting patrol-ready rifles with an optic on it and ready to go. Our guys, we had a conversation with them about them possibly bringing in their own AR-15s, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, just because it should be a department-issued rifle that we are shooting, because then you start opening up something else with a big liability concern to say, hey, why is an officer using his own personal rifle for?
We entertained the idea, if they qualified with it, and we have a policy on it already, so we entertained it, I talked to them about it. After they started bringing in their rifles to show us what they had, they're great guns, they're really, really good guns, but not what we want for patrol rifles, so that's why we're really watching and making sure that we have everything that would be very, uniform across the board, is what we want to look for there, so that's why we kind of mixed that idea pretty quick after we started seeing what they had.
You're gonna need some kind of a unit to put those in like you have for the shotguns?
Yep,
Yeah,
actually,
new
the
one.
SUV's already, ready for it,
Okay.
so they're,
Yeah, I've heard of Bravo Company, they do have any military stuff.
BCM, yeah, they're a good company. So that's the route we would probably go with the deputy that I know that I spoke with. And he was saying that that's primarily what they would suggest for us. And It's a complete rifle, it's not like it's pieced together like a Lego gun, it's a whole,
Right.
it's just like a patrol rifle. So-
And these are just semi-autos, not full auto?
Yeah, no, we don't know, that's a whole nother thing, we would have to have, that's, no. That's-
The idea
Yeah,
is
that's,
just accuracy.
yeah, full auto is
AR
one
is
thing.
Armalite rifle, not automatic. I know, I was messing with you. I know you live in the war.
So
You
that's,
don't want any money on him?
no, that's, I mean, I don't know what money.
No, he wants 5,000.
Oh, he wants it right now?
I don't need it right now.
No.
I guess I.
Like I said, if you guys,
That's what we would like to
Fine.
do.
I guess the big thing, if you guys would approve the $5,105 with the exception that I do not do it unless Debbie gives her blessing, then that's where we'd be at, but otherwise, that's just kind of my wish list. The top to the bottom are what we really need, going top on down, but like I said, if you want to make a motion, I can give Debbie approval. That's up to you, if you don't, we'll wait.
How many tasers does that buy?
That would buy one.
I like the body camera part.
Well, if you don't put any more gas or oil in the vehicles, that would be the 3,000.
You
You guys will have
this
to
nice
put
stuff and it don't go
Flintstone.
down the road.
Cut a hole in the floorboard.
Have we already spent all Wilmot's money?
I spend that every month when it comes in.
It's for payroll.
We're still making money on that, right?
But it needs to be changed. That
Oh,
contract
we're
can't
not.
stay the same. It has to change.
I would go along with body cameras right now, without any trouble. I think you always need them. After what I've seen, everything else.
Well, what are you gonna do? Make that motion?
How many body cameras, 1,200, give you?
One.
One.
And that's all we need is one right now.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had more than 2 guys on duty at a time.
I'll make a motion to go with the body camera.
I'll second that.
Or could we have some more discussion?
Sure can.
Thank you. So you're wanting to throw in your fundraiser money, so that would pay for your tasers and your body camera, pretty much.
That's
So,
good.
would you rather have 2 AR-15s or a radar? Or would you rather have 1 AR-15 and have a radar?
I could compromise and do the one AR and have a radar.
And no body camera.
No, that's what the.
No, that would be covered under the fund money they already have in their fundraiser money.
And I don't mean to speak out of line, but if there were any liability, having the tasers is big. If you had a use of force incident, you don't have a first line. I mean, the only defensive weapon you have is a deadly weapon. And if you can add something else to the mix that is a defensive weapon that can be used but is not a deadly weapon, it can save the village an enormous amount of money if
And
it
that's
were.
what I'm saying, their fundraiser money would cover the taser and the body camera.
We also, just on a little side note, I was gonna say, we also have some of our guys that are not OC spray, that's MACE certified, so that's upcoming too. That's just another little tool in our Batman belt that we have.
And the 2,000, how many tasers does that do?
One.
That's one.
Yeah, they're insane.
That would be with some,
No, it says here we approved that last year.
it was approved last.
Did we approve the money?
You guys approved us to get them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I thought they, yeah. Because you were gonna look into it, so one. We have none right now,
So,
right?
yeah, how many do you
I
have?
don't
0?
know.
I mean, I can't tell you
No,
to
we
vote
don't
on
have
this
any.
tonight, because
No.
when he talks about his $3,000, that's all in the general fund already, that's not coming
It is
from,
fundraiser money.
it's already in there.
And that's
It's-
why,
Yeah, I've gotta sit down and look to see where I
Okay.
can.
and that's why I
extend-
added in there with Debbie's blessing, not to touch it until
Okay,
Debbie
I
gives
didn't
the.
realize that was in there.
Yeah, so if Debbie says, I don't have the money for another 5 years, I don't have the money for 5 years. But I'm just kinda getting you guys' approval so that I can just go to Debbie and
It-
kinda bypass this.
The only
again.
5,000 that I have that I know that could be available would be, didn't we talk about that 5,000 for that car?
There was an extra that we didn't,
What was I using that for?
you were using it for the pagers for the fire department.
Yep.
Yeah. They went to the fire department.
Okay.
But that's why, like I said, this is just a wish list, we don't have to do any of this tonight, it's just one of those things, if you give Debbie the okay to, when she's ready to
No.
give it to me, we'll go for it.
All your officers have body cams, all right?
No, they have one body.
Yeah, one body.
Yeah, but they said they only have 2 on duty.
Yeah,
at
we
the
never
time.
have more
So
than
they
that,
don't
we don't
need
like-
2 if they would have.
Generally, from 9 to 5, it's me that has the body cam on, 'cause I'm the only one in town.
Right.
But then we would switch, when whoever comes in at 5 would then take the body cam. We have a charging station for it, you gotta upload the videos and everything, so.
Worked great, absolutely, though, it's,
Yeah,
that's
it's
one
awesome.
we've had. So
So
that's,
if
I didn't want to
If
spend
we
it,
went with the body camera, at least we'll get something started. Is that what you're saying?
we've got one. Yeah, go top to bottom is where we're at.
Legally though, probably and I mean, this is what Steven said was tasers sound like they would be really,
So that's.
for liability purposes,
Tasers-
because that would be our first line of defense.
That's absolute top on our list, I've got money in our training account to train the officers, that's not part of that 2,000.
And that's what you were, I remember you talking about that, since we already approved you, but.
What do you think, George?
Well, if
That is.
Debbie has to do all her little magic,
Well,
no,
I
she
don't
has to
wanna,
figure out where the money is.
and that's where I don't wanna put the extra pressure on Debbie and say, hey, you guys approved this, I'm gonna go buy them tomorrow. I want it to go through Debbie, and I just wanna get past you guys, that's one little hurdle, and then go through her.
Can we
I
wait
would
till
like
the
to
next-
hear her talk about
Can we
the
wait
money
till the next
first.
meeting?
Okay, yeah, absolutely, like I said, this is just a wish list, this is,
Well,
Yeah, cause I'd rather hear from Debbie.
amend her motion.
I will.
I just scratched it off.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
think we'll just wait for Debbie to bring us more information. Sorry to put that more on you, but you're the one that knows, so.
like I said, none of this is an absolute need to have tomorrow, this is just my wish list. You got the top to bottom priority. But other than that, that's all I've got.
All right. Administrator, you're up.
Right. We had
Oh,
hydrant,
I'm sorry, what do you have, Hazel, you got something for police?
Yeah.
what?
On the fire thing here on the bottom, it had funding requested this meeting.
Yeah, that was for,
To
Taras.
Ross.
We already did
We
that.
already did that.
Yeah, we already passed that.
Yeah, we passed that for Taras, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay, that's for his physical and
Better
drug
to ask,
test.
better to ask.
Yeah. Go ahead, Greg.
All right, we had our hydrant flushing and our flow testing done. We'll need to start looking at ordering a couple replacement hydrants. We have 2 right now. But I did find a sheet from something else I'm gonna get to later. We need to start replacing a few of them. I'm not saying replace every one that we have. There's just a couple of them that are problems that are leaking, and we had leak detection come in 2018. I called them and I got a message, so I gotta call them back, the company that we used to do that. But I was looking at more than likely, that's gonna be September when I wanna have them come in. And what they do is just kinda go around town and pinpoint leaks and areas where we have loss from either our lines or a hydrant, or wherever we're losing water from, which goes to the water cost
We
adjustment.
normally always kept one or two on hand all the time.
We got 2, but we need to get, I say at least 4 more, because if we start replacing them, we're gonna put a new one in, and that needs to be done. We need to at least order.
Why don't we just replace one a month till we get up there?
I can't guarantee that we're gonna be able to replace one a month if something happens, if we don't have the guys to do it, or we're gonna run into another problem, but
What's the price of them right now?
anywhere from 1,200 to 1,400, a hydrant from Mueller's. So we can have 2 on hand, but if I wanna replace 2, I need to buy 2 extra ones. So I'm not saying I'm doing this right now, but we need to look in, once leak detection says this is how many hydrants you have that are leaking, then I'll know more, which may get
Why
more.
don't we go ahead and approve buying one of them right now, and we can you can bring it up.
We could, I mean, we could do that, but what I'm saying is, in the future, when I find out how many leaks we have and how many bad
And I
hydrants,
understand.
then we can kind of do that.
So right now, as it stands from the report that I found from 2018, I think there was 5 of them, they said it should be replaced minimum. Now, that's not with what we just went through with hydrant flushing, that some of them didn't even flow enough to turn the meter on it to show any type of water movement. So there's more than 5 that we probably should be replacing.
George, what do you think?
Why are you asking me?
You don't, he doesn't need your approval.
No?
No, I'm
I
just,
know we
I
don't.
mean,
I'm just saying that's something we need to look at, because also with having leak detection come in, probably, and I don't know what their schedule's like, because I need to talk with them again. But it could be in a month, it could be in 2 months that they're here, but we'll know more. And the one thing that was done before I got here as village administrator was the water loss went way down, and I want to keep water loss way down. So depending on what leak detection is going to cost, it's definitely worth the investment for them to say, this is where you have a leak, this is where you have a leak, so we know where they're at, we can fix them
I
accordingly.
just didn't want to come up with 4 of them at one time.
Yeah, I like his thing where wait till after leak detection.
Once
check
they tell us where
everything.
we're at, I'll have a concrete number on how many we have to replace.
Okay.
But what I'm saying right now is, don't be shocked when I say that it's probably gonna be more than 4, because there's some hydrants in this town that are from 1895 and 1896. I can show you the report that they did when they did the hydrant flushing. There's some of them that are over 100 years old that have leather actual gaskets on them instead of plastic. So we're talking things that were around before the turn of the century, not this past
And
one.
some of the old ones still work good.
Yeah, not really.
Did Donnie replace
Yeah.
any?
Oh, yeah.
I
Surely
couldn't-
did.
I couldn't remember if he just fixed leaks or if he
Yeah.
replaced.
Yeah, and there
Oh,
are,
yeah,
yeah.
'cause, yeah. I
So-
remember.
I remember that one on Church, I think it was Church and Birchall was the one that he said was like 1895 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that we still have some of those,
Yeah.
not many, but we still have some from them. Osmo's pole inspection, they're done, they did over 310 poles. Majority of them were in the village and some on our south end of our distribution system. I got a message when I came in from the guy that actually finished it. I'll be getting his report and to see if there's a couple of them that were actually rejected for inspection, which we may have replaced. But we have the amount of poles to do that, that's not an issue. Dollar General's done, and they've actually paid, so they were really quick on that, so we're done there. Water, electric's done. The one thing that I was gonna bring up is that we wanted to keep Village Hall closed until Stark Glass finishes what they're doing out here with putting their glass in. So, and I think that you said you talked to them today.
I called, but I missed her, I
Yeah.
missed the main office.
We'll get a hold of them, but, other than that, mosquito spraying, it's a little late to bring this up, but that's gonna be tomorrow. I think, Fran, you brought it up, July 7th, so it's still be under spring.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, so.
John put that on
Yeah.
Facebook
Oh, you
as
did?
soon as he found
Okay.
out, so
Well, never mind.
thank
No,
you.
we're-
The other thing is, I was talking with Steven, the TAP request form for some of these properties that have delinquent taxes. I'm submitting another one that's over on 6th Avenue. I'll be giving that to Steven tonight. There's another one on Main, just down the hill here past the bank, which I gotta get pictures of that. And I think other than that, that's all I really have to do for that one. But these are properties that have either been abandoned for a while and that are just really run down, and there's no way anybody's ever gonna replace them or do anything with them. And the other thing too is with what we do with the trailer that just got demoed up here on Church, there's a demolition assistance program which will pay for 50% of the cost of demoing it. And that's just another form to submit, once we do get word back that we can take possession of those properties. The one on 6th will be easy because it is a mobile home. But there's still some stuff that goes along with that. I think I'll have to probably get an asbestos inspection done on both of them, but, so that's kind of out there as well. And I believe that that is all I have.
That one has a triple lot too, right?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a
That's
really
a
big
big
one.
one,
It's,
so.
how big is that actually? It is, it's a huge lot.
That's when you
There's
get-
3 lots there.
Yeah, it's a triple lot, it's big. Dimensions
The one at the bottom
on.
of the hill, I looked it up, and it does have a boner in there.
Yeah, it does. These do
Like
too.
Ryan
They're just
Brown or
delinquent.
something.
Yeah, they're delinquent on their.
Because they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, they're never gonna.
It's in the woods right outside of town.
Yeah, but they're never gonna go back and do anything with
Did I
them.
miss something? Is that outfit from Madison, or Stark County, it's coming down here? To go all around?
Oh, the.
Oh, GIS?
GIS.
Yeah, they're here, they're gonna be here every Tuesday through like August. They were here last Tuesday. They'll be walking around with either Jeff or Derek, and marking water, all of our water, the caps and the laterals and everything. So they're gonna be mapping that, so we can pull it up whenever we need to do anything with the property on the work order, and they can see exactly where a lateral's at or where the water service goes into the house. And they'll be doing that for all three utilities, water, sewer, and also electric. So,
Well, if they come down by my house, they need me to move my van, so I park my van right on top of my.
all on your water caps right there in your, yeah, they'll be able to, I mean, and they already know where they're at, they know we got the whole thing where the water guys should know where it's at, so they'll probably just knock on your door. If they may have been there already, I'm not sure, I think they started out on Second and worked their way up and we're gonna.
Okay, well, just in case, just tell them, let me know.
Yeah. And that's all I got.
That is, sir? Okay. Stephen?
Just, I did submit the one application from last meeting, and then, we have the affidavit ready to go on this one. I'll get it submitted, over to the Land Reutilization Corporation, and then hopefully have an update, probably not next meeting, but by August something, I should be able to hear about the status of it. I don't have anything other than that.
Okay, so- All right, anybody else?
I've been having complaints over in my area about a burn off of that trail property.
I called the police department this morning, or early this afternoon, I got a gentleman called me, and I called the police. I think Kylan was on duty, and Kylan said he was gonna go down there and talk to him. If it happens again, I'm gonna have to call the fire department, because they can't have a fire more than a 3x3. All you gotta do is tell whoever's down around that way, call the fire department, and have them go down there, and they'll tell them, and then they do it again, they can get some
Is
serious
this the house
trouble.
across from you?
Yes.
Yeah, shock about.
Shaka bought that.
He's not allowed to, and I don't know.
What are they burning?
You mean the one they're demoing?
I
The one
They've been
that-
gutting out that.
Yeah,
They
shot
can't
them
burn,
out.
they can't
But
burn
they're,
stuff there.
that's the one, that's the house I'm
They,
thinking of,
they
right?
can't, it's only clean
Brown
cut
house.
firewood, is all they're allowed burning.
Yeah, you can't burn
That's my
material.
Yeah, you
neighbors
just
burn all
can't burn.
kinds of stuff.
Can't burn trash and stuff,
I
that's
mean,
what
it, like, church.
they told me was that they
Oh.
were
My
burning
neighbors
stuff
haven't
that
done it in a
wasn't
while,
supposed to
but
be
yeah,
burned.
Bring home.
Yeah.
Trailer loads of stuff. And
You better have a hot dog.
I'm just waiting to find another ash on.
But if they call the fire department, just tell them, hey, we got a fire down here, because especially as dry as it is, you don't know when the heck,
Yeah, the fire department will come down and put it out right
Yep,
away.
they'll put it out,
If
and
I
they
see
will
something
also-
other than clean wood in a fire, I'm
They
calling
will
the fire
also let
department, put
those
it out.
people know, they will also let those people know they can't do that.
They
You
can't.
And they got 3 dumpsters down there, why are they burning?
That I have no idea, you'd have to
I-
ask them, because they wouldn't make any
He
sense.
said he had the garage all cleaned out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
talked to him yesterday.
Burn it up.
Do you want me to stop by and tell him not to burn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, it'd probably
I
be better
will.
coming from you.
Yeah.
I will tell him.
All right, thanks, Franny.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?